How's it going, guys? This is Soren right now, and today I'm going to be doing another reaction, but it's not particularly to a music video. In fact, it's actually a scene from the movie Amadeus, and I'm going to be doing a compare and contrast sort of thing based on this, um, based on the scene alone. And the reason being is because what they're talking about here, we actually talk about in today's society, and I'm going to show you guys what I mean by that. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and check out my previous videos. And make sure you check out my friend AstroGirl89 on Twitch, as I told her I was going to promote her channel on a lot of my videos. The link is going to be found on the description below, so make sure you check that out as well. But don't forget to hit that subscribe button before you do. So this is a scene in Amadeus where Mozart tries to convince the king of his rewriting of a controversial play called Figaro. The Marriage of Figaro. Let's take a listen.
I am a tolerant man. I do not censor things lightly. When I do, I have good reason. Figaro is a bad play. It stirs up hatred between the classes. In France, it has caused nothing but difference. My own dear sister, Antoinette, writes me that she is beginning to be frightened of her own people.
So as you can probably already tell that this Marriage of Figaro has had its share of controversy back in the, if I remember right, this takes place in, I think this takes place 10 years after the Revolutionary War. I'm not so sure. I completely forgot. I mean, I know about Mozart and all his accomplishments, but I actually can't remember what year all this was actually based in. But I think somebody told me it was like 1783, so that was about 73, 76. So that was 7 years after the Revolutionary War, if this did take place in 83. So I guess there were a few, I mean, what they talk about then, we actually talk about now. So I'm going to just continue.
I swear to your majesty, there's nothing like that in the piece. I've taken out everything that could give offense. I hate politics.
I'm afraid you're rather innocent, my friend. In these dangerous times, I cannot afford to provoke our nobles or our people simply over a theater piece.
Yeah, the thing about King Joseph II, he was actually, I think even told by Salieri, was that he was like the musical king. But they say that he was actually, I think some people have said that he was actually also a fair king. So it wouldn't be any surprise that he says he cares about his people. If only our leaders did.
See, this is just a frolic. It's a piece about love.
Love. Again.
And it's new. It's entirely new. It's so new that people will go mad for it. I have scenes. The end of the second act, for example. It starts out as a simple duet. Just a husband and a wife quarreling. Suddenly, the wife's scheming little maid comes in. It's a very funny situation. Duet turns into trio. Then the husband's valet comes in. He's plotting with the maid. Trio turns into quartet.
You can tell the Belkins are very prideful people, and they're very proud. I mean, this man, like, even though he knows he's got to try hard to convince the king to actually get this approved. Much like how people in Hollywood, a lot of filmmakers and content creators, you got to get approvals before you get this project greenlit. And even in today's society, it's hard to get something controversial put on film or in music. And this is actually an example of one.
Then a stupid old gardener comes in. Quartet becomes quintet. And so on and on and on. Sextet, septet, octet. How long do you think I can sustain that, Majesty? 20 minutes. 20
Not
minutes
loud.
of continuous music. No recitatives.
Hold on a second. I just heard thunder, but it's clear and blue outside. That's Florida for you.
Only opera can do this. In a play, if more than one person speaks at the same time, it's just noise. No one can understand a word. But with opera, with music, with music. You can have 20 individuals all talking at the same time, and it's not noise, it's a perfect harmony.
That's true.
Mozart, music is not the issue here. No one doubts your talent. It's your judgment of literature that's in question. Even with the politics taken out, this thing would still remain a vulgar farce. Why waste your spirit on such rubbish?
That's kind of the thing Mozart didn't understand, is that no one's saying that he's bad at, creating and making music and creating a story, but the fact of the matter is it's still a touchy subject. People have been writing songs, I think one person who actually has enough balls to even do something like that, I actually think it's Eminem. He raps about controversial shit all the time, but you know what the thing is? He backs it up with facts so well that nobody ever goes after him because of it. But in this case, it kind of seems like, yeah, we get it, Mozart. You know how to write a story, but even if you take the politics out of the story, it's still a controversial thing. It's like you can't exactly, even if you rewrite part of it, people are still going to see it as a bad thing.
Surely you can choose more elevated themes.
Elevated. What does that mean, elevated?
In today's scenario, in today's world, that's called PC. See, they call it elevated. Here in America, here in OCO, we call it PC. And it's bad. That lets you know, it's like, oh, you can't, look, don't waste your time on something controversial. Play something on the safe side. Something PC, something that the people are going to enjoy.
Man, to the teeth with all of these elevated things, old dead legends. Why must we go on forever, writing only about gods and legends?
Because they do. They go on forever. That is what they represent. The eternal in us. Opera is here to ennoble us, Mozart. You and me, just the same as His Majesty.
You can kind of tell the look at the King's face. It's like, I don't really want people talking for me, but they do kind of have a point. It's not that he wants to censor things, but he doesn't do it lightly, as he just mentioned earlier. Like, even though he sounds intrigued, he knows that he is a man of his word. Just because you change a few things, he's like, you know what? I like where this is coming from. I like your idea, and even if the politics are out, it still remains. I banned it. I blocked it for a reason. Because even if you change a few things, people are still going to remember the old story from the new adapted story. That's kind of how it is in even today's society. Example, the Jurassic Park movies. We grew up with it with CGI and animatronics. But we still, and even if we watch the new ones, the Jurassic World series, we still remember how it was back in the old days when we had little CGI but a lot of animatronics. But now they have a lot more CGI and almost no animatronics. But we still remember the first movie, the second movie, and the third movie over the newer movies. And in this case, they're going to be like, even if we see a different variation of this play, we're still going to remember the play from before. Even though this one is more like a parody, not a parody, this is an adaptation. There's still the original that exists in France, and this is the one that he doesn't want people to remember it for. I think in a way it's like he's on Mozart's side. It's like, I like this idea, but you don't want the people hating you for it. Because eventually he says like 9 performances, people didn't want to watch this anymore. It's like, we get it. I guess kind of like the same way how we deal with it here in today's world.
Oh, bello, come on now, be honest. Which one of you wouldn't rather listen to his hairdresser than Hercules? Or Horatius, or Orpheus, people so lofty they sound as if they shit marble. What? Come on, your tongue, Mozart, how dare you? Forgive me, Majesty. I'm a vulgar man. But I assure you, my music is not.
That is actually true. He is, in fact, a vulgar man, but his music is beautiful, except the one he writes about eating shit. although it sounds beautiful, you translate the words from Belkin to Ocean, and you're gonna be like, "Oh my god!" And people like this. There was a time it was a children's choir that actually sang this at a major concert, and I'm pretty sure those that can speak Belkin will be like, "Oh my god, they're talking about shit. They're talking about the Scheisse." But because a person who doesn't speak Belkin doesn't know that, they think, "Oh, it just sounds so beautiful," really, because it's actually talking about eating excrement. And it was supposed to be, it's a song that I think he wrote for his sister or his cousin. It was one of them. It's basically telling her, eat shit. Yeah, this review is not for kids. I'm gonna make sure. I'm gonna tell you guys that. I mean, not to mention I'm smoking. Also, the fact that I used the word shit. Not to mention the fact that Mozart himself used the word shit.
Just let me tell you how it begins. May I just do that, Majesty? Show you how it begins. Just that.
He's like intriguing.
Please.
See, at least he's giving him the chance to explain.
There's a servant down on his knees, and do you know why? Not from any oppression, no, because he's measuring his space. Did you know what for? His bed. His wedding bed. To see if it will fit.
Okay, the next part plays music, so I gotta stop it there. Even if it's for a little bit. But the whole concept of having to convince your bosses to do this picture, knowing the fact that the audience might not like it or compare it to something older. The Star Wars series, Jurassic Park series, even Star Trek. Do we remember the new ones? Probably not. Do we remember the old? Of course we do. They came first. But much like Marriage of Figaro, that came out first. Well, the play Figaro came first. And then Mozart's adaptation came in later, but people still remember the one with politics and oppression and all of that smash. But people are still going to remember that. Even if you try to make something lighthearted out of something bad, people are still going to be reminded of the bad. You know, because it already happened. If Mozart would have done this idea first, and then people do the politic one second, I think people would just remember his first over any other ones. But just kind of like in today's world, you know, it's like not only do we got to try to convince people to make these kind of content, but at the same time we gotta let people know, it's like even if it's something new, it doesn't have to be bad. I mean, adaptations have been a good thing. Some of it was not. Looking at you, Michael Bay. You take a good idea like Transformers, a cartoon about cars turning into robots or robots turning into cars, but then you put it in the hands of someone like Michael Bay and you're like, maybe GoBots should have a go at making movies. I'm joking. I like the first two movies, despite it just being American porn. But you know, not much has changed since the 1700s. Even now, we sort of live in that kind of world in some weird way or another. I guess this movie shows you more than just music and the madness of a man who wrote incredible music. It shows you about like how history can change and not change. And on that note, I've been running out of time, so I have to stop this review and ensure that you guys can watch something else on my channel. And don't forget to check out my friend's Twitch account, which is AstroGirl89. I think she's currently playing Shadow of the Colossus. I'm not sure if she's playing something different. But, you know, you never know unless you check out her video. So, tell her I sent you. Like, comment, subscribe on this channel, and hopefully this was educational for you or just enlightening. Until then, I will see you guys in another video. Make sure you check out my previous one and any future gaming ones I have going on. So, that's it for now, and I'll see you in another time.